Once again, your host, Cyron Smith. Now, Rebecca, we just did the video of you educating us about raccoons, and I told you I wanted to do another video about bats and about the penguins. Well, not the penguins, pigeons. But this video, I want our viewers to know a little bit more about you, how you gotten involved with wildlife, what sparked your interest with that. And I guess you can start out with your childhood. Were you in a forest preserve when you grew up, or what?
That's a good question. Yes, I grew up, my father was the curator at River Trail Nature Center. So I had a wonderful opportunity to gather eggs from the chicken coop to help him feed the raptors, the hawks and owls, and he took care of the beehives there at River Trail Nature Center. And the Illinois state beekeeper taught my father how to beekeep. And my father has a little arthritis in his hands, so when he does his beekeeping, he doesn't wear any gloves because he thinks the occasional sting is medicinal for his arthritis.
What?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
I guess it ties back to ancient Chinese medicine.
Now, what year was this?
Well, I'd tell you how old I was if I told you that. This was in the 80s. So, but he still does this to this day. He's
Wow.
69 years old, and he still does his beekeeping with no gloves. But I asked him one time, I said, "Hey, Dad, if you don't wear gloves when you do your beekeeping, how come you always wear your head veil?"
Okay.
And he said, "It reminds me, it makes me hearken back to the man who taught me beekeeping." And I said, "Why is that, Dad?" And he said, "When a one-eyed beekeeper tells you to wear your veil, you just do it."
Okay. Excellent. Now, so this is what that I figured there was something with wildlife that got you motivated by it. And so walk me through that process. So you were excited about it. He didn't force you to do it, so you
No,
were
not at all.
interested.
Right, exactly. I've always been very interested in wildlife, and especially where it converges with public policy and public health. So I began studying issues like raccoon roundworm, histoplasmosis in birds, especially carried by pigeons, and I became really interested in how we can make our city cleaner and healthier for humans while still having a natural environment where we can observe and support a diverse wildlife population. So I became interested in urban wildlife management specifically.
Now, so when you were a child, you knew you were going to grow up and do the work that you're doing now?
I've always known that I would work in public policy or advocacy in some way, yes.
Now, you were telling me about your grandfather.
Yes.
And particularly in the African American community, we know police brutality is just historic and things of that nature. Can you educate my viewers on what your grandfather did to impact our community?
Absolutely. My grandfather was federal magistrate Bernard Weisberg, and he was an inspiration and a shining light in my life. And he did many, many wonderful things during his career, but I think the two that I'm probably most proud of and touch me really most deeply are the first thing he did was anytime someone who's being arrested has read their Miranda rights, that's his case. He argued the Miranda case before the Supreme Court. So it's really important to me that people who are taken into custody are presumed innocent and are given a right to their attorney and know that they don't have to make a statement that would incriminate themselves. The other thing that
can we go back? So, but let's define that a little bit more. So, before he argued this case, what was occurring?
I believe that people did not have to be read their rights.
And so a lot of Chicago police officers weren't too thrilled about what your grandfather did, correct?
They weren't, but they got even more mad at him when he helped the law be passed that any time there was a capital case that the confession had to be videotaped in order to be admissible.
Wow.
Right, exactly. He was, my grandfather believed that police were torturing confessions out of people and that those confessions may have been false confessions and that innocent people may have been going to jail.
Right.
He was unfailingly anti-death penalty. And I had the great honor to work for Governor George Ryan in '99 and 2000 during the time that he put the moratorium on the death penalty, and it's some of the proudest work I've ever done in my life. And people have a lot of mixed feelings about those things, and at the time my grandfather helped that law pass, many Chicago police officers had mixed feelings about that, and I used to ask my grandparents, hey grandmother, hey grandfather, why can't you get mail at your house? Why does your mail have to be delivered by the Chicago police? And it was because he was receiving threats from numerous police officers once the law was passed that people had to be Mirandized and that videotaped confessions were required.
So every piece of mail had to be screened prior to reaching your grandfather.
That's exactly right. The Postal Service did not deliver mail to my grandparents' house for a number of years.
Wow. And that's a sacrifice that I take for granted. I'm sure others that, your public work can come back and haunt you like that, where you can't even receive your mail on your own.
I'm sure he never regretted it or questioned it. I'm sure he was very, very proud of that.
Excellent. So what's the second item that you were speaking about?
Well, I wanted to let you know about histoplasmosis. It's very interesting. Many birds are what we call clean nesters. They use little branches and things like that to build their nests. Other birds are dirty nesters, and pigeons fall in that category.
A dirty nester.
They're dirty nesters. That means they spackle that nest together with their own droppings.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, what I'm going to do, we're going to come back to a second video so you can educate us on the pigeon droppings. But can you show our audience the bag before we go to that third video?
Absolutely. This is a completely vegan-made, non-leather Astro satchel
Wow.
made in New York City, and I ordered mine with a pigeon on it because I want to take every opportunity I can to educate people about histoplasmosis in Chicago as an important public health issue.
Wow. All right. On the next video, we're going to go deep into that.